is one example of the year effect in tourism. Why? Let's see the next slide. First, economic aspect. The Great Asia Africa was first opened in December 2019. When it was opened, this first photo and fellow. From December to early March, there was a drastic increase in the number of visitors, up to 2,000 until 10,000 per day. However, due to the pandemic, this place is closed from March to May. Then in June, this place was reopened. There was a closure in December 2020, then May 2021, and finally on June 2021. The most impact felt at this closure was on the last closing because previously there had been an increasing number of visitors. After that, there was a decrease in the number of returning visitors. Okay, that's all for economic aspect. Next, social aspect. Due to the pandemic, many employees in the Great Asia Africa had been laid off, and some employees continue to maintain environmental safety and cleanliness. Okay, that's all from me. So, Novika, for your aspect, thank you.
Then the environmental aspect. I think the environmental aspect in Great Asia Africa is not very supportive, where the highways look small, and when it goes viral, the road is very traffic jam because many people want to visit the place. Furthermore, the Great Asia Africa building is also not strategic or worthy of being a tourist spot because the area is an area that has sloping landforms, valleys, and plantation.
So right now we are going to talk about the global case that we have prepared is going to be presented by me, Salsa, and also Sheila. Next. Vivit, next. The first aspect that I'm going to talk about is the environment aspect. Boracay is one of the most famous and most visited island in the Philippines, but Boracay Island must be closed for tourists for 6 months in order to clean it up after concerns that rapid development and pollution was threatening its idyllic shores. The island's closure was based on the need for rehabilitation, according to Philippine officials, with the strain of environmental pressures becoming too much for Boracay to bear. In February 2018, that nearly 200 business and thousands of local residents are not connected to underground sewer lines and roadways is pumped directly into the sea. Waste and rubbish management, as well as overdevelopment and illegal construction, have been rampant problems according to locals. The issue of too many tourists and its impact on the environment are a result of years of neglect and bad governance. Next. The next aspect that I'm going to talk about is the economic aspect. With the problem that have been described previously, the government projected that there will be about 20 billion pesos loss of potential gross receipt as a result of the 6 months closure of Boracay. Tourist stakeholders in the island project a loss of 30 billion pesos as they estimate that 700,000 bookings by foreign tourists were cancelled in anticipation of the closure. Because of that, Boracay Island having a significant impact on the tourism industry and wider economy across the Philippines. So now Sheila for your aspect. Thank you.
Thank you. I will continue the talk with the political aspect. The yo-yo effect that occurred at that time was related to government orders. Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte ordered the closure of Boracay Island. Boracay's closure ordered by President Duterte after he was outraged by environmental violations. Like Salsa said before, the Philippine government shut down the most famous holiday island of Boracay to tourists for 6 months in order to clean it up after concern over the rapid development of tourism and pollution was threatening its idyllic shores. Next. The next one is social aspect. Boracay Islanders feel the pinch after the Philippines shuts down a top tourist destination. Boracay's population is approximately 40,000, most of whom are dependent on tourism and were struggling to make the ends meet. Due to the shutdown, more than 36,000 jobs were affected and losses total about $1 billion. According to data provided by Boracay Foundation Inc., a business association on the island, another 19,000 workers, such as businesses, tattoo artists, and vendors, were also affected by the temporary closure. Next. That's all from our group. Thank you for your attention.
Well, thank you so much. Usually I have like a lot of questions, but because we still have around 7 groups to perform, I just have one question for this group. I'm really interested in the Boracay Islands phenomenon. Of all the aspects, starting from environmental, economic, political, and socials, which one do you think is the easiest to overcome, and which one do you think is the most difficult to overcome, and why? Anybody can answer this question, please. So which aspect do you think is the easiest, and which aspect do you think is the most difficult? Vivit, Sheila, or Vika, or Salsa? You may answer the question.
Sorry, sir, we will take a minute for discussion.
All right. And then after this, please get ready for the next group to perform. That is the group of Alivio, Fakhra, Latifa, and Zafira.
Dan satu lagi aktivitas dosen disiapkan, misalnya bimbingan tugas saat
Okay, have you come up with the answer? Come on, don't take too long. We still have a lot of groups to perform.
yang sebelumnya hanya untuk guru besar.
Sir,
Yes, please.
I think economic aspect because economic aspect will be difficult and take a long time because as we know there is new mutation called Omicron. We don't know that in the next year it will be more increased or not. I think that's it. Sorry.
And the easiest one, that is the most difficult one, right? And which one is the easiest one?
Ya, jadi sebenarnya ini menguntungkan kalau semua datanya sudah lengkap di semua datanya sistem.
Maybe my friends can answer this.
Okay. Okay, friends, can you help Vivit?
Integrasi untuk PAK segi karir itu akan beriringan dengan
Well then, because we don't have much time, so that's it for group 15. Next, I would like to call upon group 16, and the members are Alivio, Fakhra, Latifa, and Zafira. So please, to those names who I just mentioned, to get ready and perform their presentation.
Okay, sir, I have to permission to share screen.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Mr. Rubat. Here, let me introduce my members of group. There are Fakra, Latifa, Zafira, and me, Alivia. Here we are going to presenting about the Yoyo effect in local and international, and we took Selasa Sunario and the King Belas, Thailand. This presentation will be continued first with Wanda.
Okay, thank you, Olivia. And here I want to explain about the yo-yo effect in the Selasa Sunario art space. The reason why the yo-yo effect occurs in this place is as shown in the line chart showing the number of visitors, which increases rapidly from January to June. This is because the place is viral on the TikTok application, and in my opinion, before this place went viral on TikTok, this place was empty of visitor and not everyone know about the scenario art space. But in early 2021, this place went viral on TikTok and made many visitors from various cities come to the Selasa scenario art space to take or picture or follow the trend. But to my knowledge, the increasing number of visitors didn't last long, because if you look at the current situation, the number of visitors, the Selasa scenario art space is the same as before it went viral. And this happened, in my opinion, due to the lack of significant change that cause visitors to not revisit. Next. And from the economic aspect, with the occurrence of the viral event, it can increase the income of the Selasa scenario art space, which indirectly help the economic of the employees who are expressing difficult during the pandemic due to the increasing number of visitors than usual. Maybe that's all from me. Next will be explained by Fahra. Thank you.
Please, next. Okay, now from the social aspect, the tourist attraction of Selasar Sunario, which was originally crowded because many tourists uploaded photos at the place, but many didn't make repeat visit, so the place was quiet. Many tourists came for selfie tours, especially places that provide Instagrammable photo spots. However, after it went viral and many took pictures there. Now tourists are not too crowded to visit there. In my opinion, once people have taken pictures in one place, they will no longer take pictures in the same place. Okay, next. Next.
Okay, next, based on economic factor in effect in Thailand. Thailand economy has been devastated by the pandemic. It's worse in 2 decades. The economic downturn was caused by the destroyed tourism industry, the service sector, entertainment, retail, hotels, and restaurants cannot move. One of tourist attraction affected by pandemic is the King Palace, Thailand. The King Palace, Thailand is a palace complex in Bangkok, Thailand. Every year, the King Palace is always the arrival of many tourists, both local and foreign tourists. But when COVID started to enter Thailand, the government ordered all tourist attractions to close. 2 months after closing, the King Palace reopened in June 2020. Then in 2021, COVID case rose again in Thailand, so the King Palace was closed again. But now it has reopened with due regard to health protocols.
Here, I'm the third person who will give an argument about the two tourist attractions that already been presented by Ara, Wanda, and Tifa. First, Selasar Sunario. As we know, Selasar Sunario, it's just a place that presenting or showing art like pictures and then paintings and other creation like art of wood. Because I think because of that, I think this place is just monotonous activities because people just come and then taking a photo, video, and get home. And I think potentially the visitors will not come again for ahead because what they see already seen and what they need already found. And then I think this place intended for photographer and people who has a soul of artistic because this is really suitable with what they need. And then pandemic is really general reason if we want to describing the situation now. And then the government already made regulation to instruct all of the restrictions to close for a while, but if I'm not mistaken, now it's already open again. Lastly, the King Palace Thailand. The King Palace Thailand is one of iconic destination in Thailand. Because of that, there is no many reason for this. The King Palace Thailand. This the King Palace Thailand is the visitors is not always increasing from year to year. It's just because pandemic. When the pandemic comes, this place must be closed for a while. But if I'm not mistaken, now already open again. Thank you for attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So yeah, I think because the time is very limited, so I'm just going to move on to the next group. I'm going to just wrap up the questions after all the groups have performed. So the next group is going to be the group of Tiara, Seni, Konita, and Ami. So it's group 17, and the members are Tiara, Seni or Chenny?
Jenny, sir.
Okay, Chenny, and then Konita and Ami. Yeah, take your time.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So our group consists of me, Jenny Pratama, Amira Husna Konita, Konita Sofiatul Karima, and Tiara Hermisa. So, sebentar, Sir. Bisa? So in local destination, Connie and I choose one of the destination in Bandung, that is the Grassy Africa. We will explain about the environmental aspect, economic, and the government of the Grassy Africa. Well, we start with me first about the environmental aspect and economic aspect. For the environmental aspect, as we know, before the pandemic, in around this destination was heavy traffic and very crowded. So the pollution is very high due to heavy traffic. But since the pandemic started, this destination is temporarily closed, so there is no more traffic jam, and the air around the Greater Africa, of course, becomes cleaner because of reduced vehicle pollution. And the waste is also reduced due to fewer visitors to the Lembang area. But lately, the Lembang area has been reopened, tourist attractions have been operating again and causing traffic jams again. So that is yo-yo effect. And for the economic aspect, before the pandemic, there were a lot of people who opened shop and sold souvenirs on the side of Lembang Road and around the Grassy Africa. There are also local people who become parking attendant or vacant land around the Grassy Africa. But since the pandemic, the local economy has dropped drastically because the Grassy Africa and other tourist attractions in Lembang area have been closed. Therefore, local people no longer have the income that is usually obtained from selling and being parking attendant. They can only be either at home without having other activities. So it's really felt there used to be a lot of buyers, but since the pandemic, there is no more income. But now this condition is better than last year. Tourism has been reopened, and last time I went to Lembang, many were selling again, and the Grassy Africa has also reopened and a lot of visitors come there. I hope this continue and the economy will get better. So that's all from me. Will be continued by Connie. Connie, please.
Okay, thank you. So next is yo-yo effect in the Great Asia Africa from the government policy point of view. The Great Asia Africa has become one of the favorite destinations for tourists who come from outside Bandung or from Bandung itself. This pandemic has caused all tourist destinations to experience a decrease in number of visitors. But when the policy was lower, they made a revenge trip. It also happened to the Great Asia Africa. The Great Asia Africa has been closed 3 times since pandemic situation. From this moment, we know that when the Great Asia Africa being open, there's a crowd that has a high risk of COVID transmission. The Great Asia Africa has been closed on December 2020, May 2021, and last 16 until 22 June 2021. So the area around the Great Asia Africa becoming low-risk COVID transmission when the management closed its destination based on the government announced about the new policy in facing COVID cases in Indonesia. But when the management decided to open again, the number of the visitor increased significantly because people are too bored to stay at home and they want to travel after a very long lockdown. Okay, next will be presented by Tiara and Ami.
Moving on to the global case in Mount Kilimanjaro, I will talk about economic point of view. Before the pandemic, Mount Kilimanjaro was visited by many tourists to climb the mountain. This has a good effect on the economy of the country of Tanzania. From the data I got, Mount Kilimanjaro has become an economic juggernaut for impoverished Tanzania, producing 13% of the nation's gross national product, with around 35,000 mostly international climbers annually. The mountain has become a job factory employing like 10,000 local porters, 500 cooks, and 400 guides. However, when the pandemic started, Tanzania began to experience a decrease in visitors, affecting the income earned. Not long ago, the case of COVID decreased and the Mount Kilimanjaro was reopened, but only for business purposes. It doesn't reduce the number of tourist visits. Next, by present by Ami.
Next, social issues in Tanzania's. One of the main preventative measures against COVID-19 is the use of running water or sanitizers, both of which are costly and in most cases a luxury, and as such most of the poor and the most vulnerable will be without protection. Second, key sectors that employ the majority of the poor, the youth, and people living with disabilities are and will continue to be severely impacted by the pandemic. Most of the poor and vulnerable that are self-employed in the informal sector have been affected by reduced demand for their products, for example, less traffic, closure of schools, and other measures, as a result of aggressive actions against COVID-19. Similarly, women are hit harder by economic impact of the pandemic, such as thus, COVID-19 is thriving because most women work in low-paying, insecure, and informal sectors. Tanzania's experience with COVID-19 is likely to yield a similar outcome, as 51% of women work in the informal sector employed or running micro and small enterprises. Main attributes of this sector include daily wages, limited social protection measures and savings, reliance on entrepreneurs, which cumulatively make women vulnerable, particularly at time like this. Thank you for attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Well, Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Wow. To be honest, the issue of the Mount Kilimanjaro is really attracting my attention, but we still have 5 more groups to perform. So unfortunately, there is no question for you. The next group will be, the next group members who are going to perform will be Irma, Diva, Lucy, and Erna. Girl power.
Okay. Hi everyone, good morning. We're going to talk about yo-yo effect on tourism. Our group consists of Diva, Erna, Irma, and Lucy. Me, Irma Septiana, and Luciana Aquila want to talk about yo-yo effect in national destination, and later after that, Diva and Erna will talk about yo-yo effect in global destination. Next. The national destination is Gunung Luhur Citorek. This destination is called Negeri di Atas Awan, located in Banten, specifically around the Halimun Salak Mountain National Park. This case included the yo-yo effect because this place become viral and there are ups and downs or an increase and decrease in tourist number. At first, this place was quiet and there were road construction worker on the road construction project upload the photo of that place, and maybe because it is beautiful, so the photo go viral in Indonesia. Next. First, I want to discuss from the environmental aspect. Due to the large number of visitors coming, it caused a traffic jam of up to 9 kilometers, and at that time, most of the roads were still laterite, so it caused pollution. In addition, in this destination, many trees were cut down and on the road was too wide. It caused flash flood in the Citorek and by area in the south of Banten. Second, because of the large number of tourists who came and caused long traffic jam, finally at the end of
2019, the government closed the Gunung Luhur tourist destination. The reason is that the facilities at Mount Luhur are not ready for the arrival of many tourists. In addition, there are fears of landslide due to the middle of the rainy season. I think that's it from me. Next will be explained by Luciana.
Hello, my name is Lucy. I will continue to talk about another two aspects of yo-yo effect cases in negeri di atas awan. For economic aspect, it is like 30% of society feels the good effect in economic aspect because this place becomes a tourist attraction. And then because the number of tourists is increasing, the community build holidays, shops, and provide several services that support the need of tourists. Some of the proceeds from the ticket purchases, parking, tent rentals, and other income are used for the development of tourist attraction. And then for the social aspect, there is a density of tourists visiting negeri di atas awan. The land capacity is only enough for 1,500 people, but it once reached until 32,000 people. So the society feels worried because that place is a forest conservation area, and this tourist attraction is considered still not ready to be opened to the public, especially with the density of tourists who come. But that's all from me. Thank you. And for the yo-yo effect cases in global, will be explained by Diva and Edna.
Okay, thank you, Luciana. So, good morning, everyone. As you can see on the screen, our topic today is the effect from global destination. The global destination we choose was Jalajufur, located in Kenyan Iceland. This destination has a natural world.
I'm sorry,
that
how do you
can be-
pronounce it? Because it's really difficult to pronounce. How do you pronounce the name of the canyon?
If I'm not mistaken, it's pronunciation by Jalajufur.
Oh, Jalaj. All right, thank you so much. Because it's really hard to pronounce. I mean, the writing is very complicated, right?
Right. So, okay, I will continue. The global destination we choose was Jalufur, located in Kenyan Iceland. This destination has a natural world that can be enjoyed by its beauty. This destination became viral because of Justin Bieber music video entitled "I Will Show You." This destination is basically not widely known, but after Justin Bieber music video went viral, many people come there and lead to over tourism destination. On this occasion, I will discuss Jalajufur from the political and economic aspect. So, I'm sorry. So in the political aspect, at first, the government had not made a policy about tourist arrival. Therefore, the destination became over-tourism and caused environment damage there. So environment activists criticize on this over-tourism and environment damage until as international tourists not to come. In the end, the government had to close Jalajufur from destination recovery. Then, on the economic aspect, there are very rapid increase in visitor. The Associated Press report that more than 1 million people have visited there. And for the last 8 years, tourist arrival has increased dramatically from about 600,000 visitors per year to 2.3 million. Tourist attraction and natural areas around the island are struggling to accommodate the holiday seeker while protecting their natural resources. Then for the other aspect will be explained by Erna.
Okay, thank you, Diva. Good morning, everyone. Next, I will explain about the environmental and
Erna, could you
psychological.
please turn up the volume because the voice is very low.
Okay. Next, I will explain
Okay, it's better now.
about the environmental and psychology aspect. First, the environmental aspect. This place has a beautiful view filled with green grass and a waterfall because of the natural beauty and viral on social media. The number of tourists has increased from 50% to 80%. The increasing number of tourists who come actually has a negative impact, such as causing a lot of garbage and damage to the surrounding environment. The second aspect is the psychology aspect. Because the destination is included in Justin Bieber's video clip, tourists have a strong curiosity and motivation to come to Jalal Jufur. Then they share the moment on social media to show that they have also visited this place. While at the destination, many of them act rashly and have bad behavior, which ultimately has a negative impact on the destination. From this incident, the Jalal Jufur destination was temporarily closed. Although it had been temporarily closed, tourists still tried to enter and even bribed the security guards of the destination. That's the presentation of our group. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much. And the next group, that is group 18, would be Nida, Mita, Devina, and Elma.
Alright, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, Mr. Ubad. Good morning, all of my friends. Today, we're going to discuss about yo-yo effect in tourism sector. Okay, next. Sorry. Is that my start screen showing about discuss about word topic and Indonesian topic? I'm sorry.
Yes, Ned.
Okay. Okay, we're going to discuss about the effect in tourism sector. In the word topic, there's Italy, and Indonesian is Umbul Sidomukni. Okay, we know that yo-yo effect in tourism sector is like opening gates after a long time has been closed by the government. Here, I want to give an opinion about yo-yo effect in tourism sector, focusing on health and social effect. The first one is about the health effect. There is a big risk in the tourism sector reopens. Moreover, the coronavirus or the COVID-19 pandemic is not over yet. Once there is an imported case, then there is a health impact. Then a bad image of tourism will stick and it will be difficult for us to repair it again. Seen from the example of the case in Umbul Sidamukni, there is also mass tourism, which causes over-tourism and can increase the level of risk of exposure. Coronavirus is also higher. And how to handle it? Ladies and gentlemen, there is a need for massive socialization, followed by simulation and also the need for supervision to begin now so that the health protocol standards are actually implemented in the field. Because the main issue is safety and health, the protocol for the new normal order in the tourism sector really must answer the main issue, starting from strict health protocol on the transportation, accommodation, restaurant, and also tourist area that we have. And the second about the social. However, if we look the existing social sector, such as the influence on the local community, tourist destination will have a huge impact on them. Social activity and the large number of arrival from tourists also increase the risk of the local community from the COVID-19 virus. In the case of Umbul Sidomukni, due to over-tourism, the local community did not feel safe and calm. Concern about being exposed to the virus are also increased for the local community. Ladies and gentlemen, suggest that the government should optimize the communication and the coordination with stakeholders regarding the maturity of the red lines and entrepreneurs and the tourist destination managers. The manager must be able to meet the standard, and we have been set to prepare the facilities and infrastructure to adapt the new normal of the tourism sector. And the next is will present by Mita Pramesti.
Okay, here I'm going to explain from a political point of view. Based on the decrease in COVID and the increase in the number of people being vaccinated, the government determined that PPKM or activity restriction was lowered to level 2 in Semarang. The government said that tourist attraction could be reopened. The opening of this tourism place make people want to come to tourist attraction. One of them is on the Umbul Sidomukti Pondokopi. Because of PPKM level 2, the tourist attraction experience an excess of visitors. Even though the government said only 50% visitors, but it still looks crowded and over tourist. This is related to the yo-yo effect, where previously PPKM was in level 3 due to the pandemic. There are no tourists doing travel. So that after PPKM being lowered, many people want to travel because I think they are tired of always being at home. And in other point of view, this case has a good economic impact for managers, local communities, and also the government. The managers get incomes from the purchase of visitors, such as food and beverage, accommodation, and other. The government also get an income because of the tax. And I think this is also an example of yo-yo effect because as we know, when it was closed, of course, they really don't have any income. But after being reopened, they finally get income and maybe it's bigger than usual. That's all from me. Next, we'll explain by Devina.
I will continue our presentation. It's about yo-yo effect in Italy. Tourism is a major source of income and has energized a broader economy. 4 million Italians are currently working in tourism or tourism-related activities, a significant portion of the country's overall 23 million workforce. In 2019, the country welcomed over 216 million tourists, a considerably high number for its 60 million population. Starting at the end of February with the first confirmed COVID-19 cases, tourism is what is keeping Italians' economy afloat. Tourism in Italy restored the Italian economy to be stable again. On the one of the strategies is to invite the citizens to spend their yearly vacation in Italy to make up for a part of the loss on the spring-summer period represents the peak season for Italy's tourism income. Italy is now emerging slowly for a year spent lockdown and extended closures, with things finally opening up again for both Italians and tourists. The country is still operating under a system of tiered COVID-19 restriction, with regions divided into colors based on the level of the risk of infection, and the social distancing measure will continue. The next slide will be explained by Elma Julian.
Okay, the next is yo-yo effect and the world perspective tourism sector in Italy. As we know, Italy's massive tourism sector has been a study in contrast. It's the first that too many tourists crowding the country's most popular spots and then almost none at all tourists. Now the sector tried to get balance between the two extremes. As we know, before coronavirus pandemic arrived in Italy, the big worry about tourism was overcrowding. The impact on infrastructure, the environment, and the quality of life residents as a result of the million tourists who clustered in some of locations like Florence, Rome, and Venice. And then after the pandemic coming, tourists practically disappeared in the middle of coronavirus lockdowns and travel restrictions. And now after a few months pause on international travel, Italy has begun reopening for foreign tourists. However, the country only reopened for tourism to certain countries. Italy applies health-related restrictions measures to incoming travelers, which may differ depending on their country of origin. And Italy tourism reopening plans are trying to do more than just promote public health, but Italy also trying to promote sustainable tourism. For example, now Venice again crowded with tourists after almost 2 years of no movement at all in these tourisms. As it turned out, As it turned out, a new problem rose up with the tourists that had overcrowded Venice or revenge tourism. To avoid over-tourism, the Venice government implements an entry fee system for tourists who come to Venice. One of the Venice officials suggested building a revolving door like the one at the airport. This allowed the authorities to close down the city if there were too many of tourists. Only tourists with special apps and QR codes can pass through turnstiles similar to those seen at train stations or ski resorts. This new policy that will go into effect next summer. Thank you for your attention. Maybe that's all from us. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And then next group 19, the members are Angga, Indah, Rizky, and Vita. Please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning to Mr. Ubad and everyone who has attended this meeting. We are here to present the yo-yo effect that we have discussed in the past week. Our members are Angga Khairul, Vita Riani, Abang, Or Muhammad Rizky Ramadan, and Indah Rahma Aulia. Okay, let's start with local cases, which will be presented by Abang and Vita. Please welcome.
The first, we take Ciwalini Hot Spring destination. Ciwalini is hot spring destination located in Ciwidey, Patenggang, Bandung, West Java.
Nah, di bumi itu sarapan heula.
This destination is really great place, so tourists wanna come to this place because this place is very beautiful and really attractive. Also, the tickets are cheap. However, since the COVID-19 pandemic gave big impact to the destination has to set a regulation to limit the tourists and even temporarily close. This destination was forced to close during PSBB and reopen in a few months later when the new normal regulation had noticed by government. When the destination reopened, they attract just a few some tourists. It doesn't took a long time. COVID-19 has significant increase. So government announced the regulation about PPKM Java Bali level 4 that destination have to close again until government give permission. After PPKM dropped to level 3, this destination reopened again and attract a lot of people to come. And even there is still on PKM level 3, a lot of people want to come to this destination. They say they have vaccine. So we can see that people are overconfident with the vaccine. Maybe they think if they vaccine, they would not get COVID-19. But in fact, vaccine only makes immunity or antibody, but still has chance to get COVID-19. And from the Ciwalini tourism manager, they don't provide strict limit tourists and rules about the health protocols that have been suggested by the government. That's why the destination Ciwalini have the tourist over capacity determined by the government, which is it to be temporarily closed to violence of health protocols. Next, Abang.
So here I would like to explain three aspects why this unique effect happened in Ciwalini. First, from political aspect, as Vita said before, when government gave regulations about PPKM on several levels like level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, I think that's a fundamental reasons for them to open their place and attract people to come to their place. It's not different on tourist side. They feel like we can do some tour or come to the destination because of that regulation has turned to level 3 or level 2. So that's the first one. The second one is reason aspect. We cannot deny that we are really exhausted with this COVID conditions, right? Stay at home, mobile limitations, and some regulations. So we bored about all these things. People need to have recreation, sampling, and has a good quality of leisure time. So that's why we cannot avoid mass tourism at Chiwalini. And then, last but not least, is economic aspect. When the destinations has closed for a while, it means they have no income. So when government allowed the destinations to reopen again, this is a great opportunity to gain income again. They were ready to welcome tourists with their facilities and the regulations, but unfortunately, those efforts cannot avoid mass tourism there. So that's all three aspect causes a yo-yo event in Chihuahua. Now we will move to global destinations guys. So Angga, Indah, screen is yours.
Okay, let's move to the yo-yo effects on the in the global in the global.
Is it only me? I think I lost Indah's voice. Is it only me or you do you have the same too? You have the same thing too? Hello?
Test. It's my test. Is my voice clear?
All right, now I can hear you again. Sorry, I lost you earlier. Maybe my connection
Okay.
was unstable in that. Sorry.
Okay, let's move to the yo-yo effects in the global case. New COVID-19 mutations appear in India and it has a high death risk and easily transmits to the human body. And it makes the COVID case in India was going to increase and also it spread along with global. According to political aspect, the second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic and also India is in the second place in the world with the most COVID-19 cases. The government has applied some policies such as activity management, like activity restriction in society, and also tracing COVID management to track the spread of the virus. The government also did some PCR testing, but the central government didn't dare to apply lockdown. The non-strict rules they had were the causes that the COVID-19 virus spreading massively. It also can be seen in social aspects such as social or cultural. As we can see, India has various cultural and still a lot of people obey the traditions. They are strict to their tradition, then obey to COVID-19 protocol. An example of this phenomenon is like we can see in the left picture right here. This is called the Kumbh Mela festival in the Ganga River with a massive number of visitors. We can see in the picture. Sebelumnya aja nggak biar kelihatan jelas. Okay, yeah, we can see in the presentation and then the social demographics. India has a massive population and we know it's hard to manage a high number of people to prevent COVID-19 because mostly Indians don't care about COVID. Their citizens are also infected with COVID and it also causes tourist sector visit decrease again. Okay, the next aspect is presented by Angga.
Okay, the third aspect is leisure needs aspect. Then it's about the Brexit becomes published in India. People were tired and want to escape to the hills or other tourist destination after the chemicals British government relaxed COVID-19 restrictions. Hotel occupancy in major tourist destinations, including Simla, Manali, and Dharamsala, is full. And the fourth aspect is the economic aspect. The cost of COVID-19 is also impacted the economic sector in India, and it is linked to the tourism sector. The sector that employs millions of Indians started bouncing back after the first wave. But the second wave of COVID was back for the devastation. The tourism sector contributes nearly 7% to India's annual GDP, and the restriction due to the second wave have crippled the tourism sector, which was already struggling to recover from the initial loss suffered by the businesses in 2020. Maybe that's all from us. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for presenting both the local and international destinations having the yo-yo effects. Apparently, we still have 2 more groups to perform. Allow me to invite group 20, Farel, Fazar, Adit, and Rafli.
Okay, thank you, sir, for the opportunity. Allow me to share screen.
Sure.
Okay, first of all, good morning, everyone. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Farel Angelo, and in this group there is Adit, there's Farel, Bob, and then there's Fazar and Rafli. Okay, first thing first, Adit, you could start.
Okay, thank you, Farel. Good morning, everyone. Let's start. As we know that Bali was reopened to tourists for the sake of the declining economy, but it actually make the virus case increase in Bali and PPKM is enforced in there. And this make what is expected to be a turning point, but again adds to our economic slam and the tourism sector. The economy is starting look like it will develop, but opening police without strict adoption of new normal habits make this aspect have to be significantly affected. And in the political, such as in the economic aspect, when Indonesia feels able to control this virus, we again open arrivals and departure from abroad. But because it is not as much possible to anticipate the virus. The virus has increased dramatically in Indonesia and has closed access to and from coming and going from Indonesia. And that also make other countries close the arrival of people from countries that have high case. And indirectly, Indonesian relations with other countries are disrupted due because this virus. Next.
Okay, for next is, in my opinion, the opening of Bali tourism has an impact on 2 aspects. There are social and environment. For socially, from the Bali area, at first the local people only experience restrictions, such as working at home. But over time, this has had a negative impact on the local community. Like many people experience panic about foreign tourists bringing the virus to the Bali area to make people afraid of vaccine. And it has been found that people experience panic. And for environment relate to social and economic aspects, which are declining awareness of the surrounding environment is becoming less, which some local people or employees have reduced and have made the destination environment uncared, while the tourists who come continue to grow. Next.
All right, moving on to the international case of yo-yo effect, we have The Beach and Maya Bay. So what happened here? In the year of 2000, a movie called The Beach released worldwide. It stars Leonardo DiCaprio and it is set in a beautiful and exotic beach known as Maya Bay in Pipileh Island, Thailand. Following the release of the movie, thousands upon thousands of people all over the world who watched the movie wanted to visit this particular location. Everybody wants to go exploring and having a grand old adventure like Leonardo DiCaprio on Maya Bay. Fast forward 18 years later, Maya Bay accommodates more than 5,000 people per day until it is closed due to over-tourism. If you search for Maya Bay today in the internet, you'll find that it is still closed since 2018. Next. And here we have the economic aspect of this particular yo-yo effect case. In 2018, the last time Maya Bay opened, it can generate more than 300 million rupiah annually. It took about 18 years for Maya Bay to reach profit this high. Surely, it is a slow process to grow the number of visitors, even with the help of the beach popularity among tourists worldwide. Now the place is closed and cannot generate any income whatsoever. Based on current news, the exact opposite seems to have happened. Maya Bay, Maya Bay needs to spend a significant amount of money to repair the beach from damage done by over-tourism. And if you can look to the pictures in the right, a single red dot on the picture represents 10 people, and in 2008, there were about 170 people visiting daily, and by 2017, that number had jumped to 3,500 people visiting per day. And next, my colleague Jack will continue the presentation.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bob, for your explanation. Now, in this presentation, I would like to explain in the environment aspect and from the government point of view in this Maya Bay case. Okay, first of all, in the environment aspect, ever since the release of the movie The Beach back in the year 2000, Maya Bay tourist numbers rose up drastically. There are even days that Maya Bay had visitors over 3,500 tourists that visited Maya Bay. Okay, with so many tourists, the comfort aspect begins to be disturbed even more. The landscape in Maya Bay are starting to get damaged. Even the coral reefs in Maya Bay are starting to get damaged. Fish starting to relocating, and then even reef sharks are not to be seen again. And then the coral reefs are damaged because of ship anchors, and of course tourists that tramples over them and took them as souvenirs. Okay, moving on. Now I'm going to explain from the government point of view. Okay, from the government point of view, even though the tourist number in Thailand rose up drastically, it makes the government delighted. But there is no other way that the damage that has been conducted in Maya Bay cannot be healed in an instant time. So, supported by the national parks and nature conservation, the Thai government finally decided to temporarily close Maya Bay from tourist visits from 2018 till present time. Okay, I think that is all from me. The next is will be explained by my colleague, Rafli.
Thank you for telling me all those nicknames, Jack.
Yes, sir. For Able, you could continue.
Come on, Able. Showtime, Able. Does he have the connection trouble or what?
I'm not pretty sure, sir. Maybe in place of Able, I should replace him. But
Okay.
maybe we could wait a minute, sir. Just a
All right.
minute.
Okay, I'm waiting.
Okay, so we don't waste many time. Maybe I should replace of Able.
Okay.
Okay,
Go
so
ahead.
I'm going to explain what's happening now in Maya Bay. So basically, what's happening now in Maya Bay? There's this conservation project that will recover the coral reefs ecosystem. And with this project, they are back in 2020. About 60 coral reef sharks are starting to return and breed, and of course fishes are starting to come back, and that means that the ecosystem in my bay are starting to heal slowly. Of course, that's it. I think that is all for me to conclude.
Wow, what a short edition. Well, thank you so much,
Yes.
Jack. Yeah, last but not least, we have group 21 and the members are Gracia, Virgio, Aisha, and Rido. So please get ready and present the yo-yo effects of both the local and international destinations that you have chosen. Jack, could you stop screen sharing? Yeah. So Virgio, yeah.
Okay, good morning, Mr. Ubat, and good morning, everyone. We will presentation the effect in tourism sector. The member of group is me, Aisyah Tareva, Nathaniela Gracia, Rido Kurniawan, and Virgio Amor. Share screen-nya masih di bawah gitu. Wait, sir. Miss.
Okay.
Okay, first is Lembah Harau. Harau Valley is one of West Sumatra's main destination. Is located in 50 cities districts. Harau Valley is famous for the charm of its high cliff and waterfall that fall directly from the top of the high cliff. The uniqueness of the Harau Valley is a Korean village. Korean village is there is a Korean village style design building, renting clothes, and so many photo spot make this place a destination that attract tourists and makes this place very crowded with tourists from West Sumatra and outside the province. Situation during pandemic. When the PSBB, the Korean village still operates, but when PPKM applies in Indonesia, Korean village are closed up for 2 months. Then after PPKM level 3, the Korean village was reopened, but the tourists who came there were empty of the visitor. Next.
Okay, here I will tell how did yo-yo effect occur. So, in the Lembah Harau, the local people is not aware about the first pandemic come. The local people not aware about the PSBB and like that. So, when the pandemic gets worse, the government closes very close the Lembah Harau, and the this gave impact of the yo-yo effect to local community that Harrow Valley environment. The local community have no income because here the main income is from tourism in the Harrow village. So when the government very close the Lembah Harau, the local people have no income. And but in the environment of Harau Valley, Lembah Harau, is more better because there are no visitors who make contact with the nature in the Harau Valley. Okay, the next presentation for presented by Gracia and and Gio.
Okay, good morning everyone. Good morning sir, I'm Grace. I will continue the presentation about the effect in the global. We choose the Turkey, tourism in Turkey, because as we all know, Turkey is one of the most visited countries by foreign tourists. This is because Turkey has many beautiful tourist attractions like Blue Mouse, cruise, and we can try to ride hot air balloon in Cappadocia and talk about what the effect in Turkey tourism. The first is when the COVID-19 come in the Turkey closed all its tourist activities, and when the
Gracia, I'm
cases
sorry, but your
of
volume is very low
COVID-19.
to me. Could you please turn up the volume a little
Oh,
bit?
sorry, sir.
No, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's better now. Thank you so much, Gracia.
Okay, sir. Okay. What the effect in Turkey tourism? And the first is when COVID-19 came in the Turkey. Turkey closed all its tourist activities, and when the cases of COVID-19 began to decline, Turkey finally reopened its tourism activities in early 2020. Then many foreign tourists came. Finally, there was a spike in COVID-19 case again, and in May, restriction tourism activities started again in Turkey. And I think this is part of the effect aspect where changes in travel policy occur so quickly, starting from Turkey closing to the public, finally reopening tourism activities, and then closing quickly again due to the surge in COVID-19 cases. Maybe it's a explanation about tourism in Turkey related to the effect, and the presentation will be continued by Virgil. Thank you.
Okay, in addition to tourism issues, we also choose economic issues in Turkey, which we feel are also related to the yo-yo effect. During the pandemic, Turkey's economy goes ups and downs. In 2020, the Turkish economy has experienced a drastic decline when it was hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. So they made several efforts to improve their economy, such as by increasing their export activities at that time. Then when the COVID-19 pandemic cases had decreased, Turkey opened its country to foreign tourists, but the COVID-19 case there had increased until Turkey finally locked down. After these efforts, Turkey is now one of the fastest growing economies in the world. Maybe that's all from us. Thank you for the attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, everybody. I believe that every group has performed their version of the yo-yo effects on either local or international tourism destinations. Well, first of all, I have to inform you that this is our final meeting of the semester. So I'm going to announce the final projects that you need to finish upon completing this course. So there will be two final projects. The first one is both are individual because the group work has just been finished today. So the final projects are going to be individual. The first one is that you have to make a 2-minute video. You have to make a 2-minute video talking about your most favorite part of the yo-yo effect. It can be local, it can be international, it can be based on the destinations of your groups. It can be based on the destinations of the other groups. It can be based on the destinations that have not been mentioned by any of the groups. You talk about your most favorite versions of the yo-yo effect, either from international or like local, in an informal English. So in an informal English. You have to talk about it in an informal English, and then you upload it to YouTube, because the Google Drive of the up.edu account is going to be limited to 50 gigabytes starting next year. So I think that it's better for you to create. So I think it's better for each of the classes to create like a YouTube channel, and then everybody can upload their videos there on the YouTube channel, so that I will just watch one by one. Okay, so it's the video cannot be more longer than 2 minutes. That is project number 1. Project number 2, please write down a 500-word essay talking about your dream job, but you have to write it in a formal English. Okay, so in the video you use informal English, but in the writing, it's a free essay. It has to be around 500 words. So it can be less than that a little bit, or it can be more than that a little bit, but it cannot be too exceeding like 600. It's not acceptable. So it's which focuses on discussing your dream job, because we have been talking about application letters and job interviews. So I really wanted to know your dream job, but it has to be your own language, and it has to be formal. The language has to be formal. The deadline for both the final projects is going to be the 31st of December. So Jack, please send me, okay. The videos are to be uploaded to your class YouTube channel's account, and the writing, Jack, please send it to me via WhatsApp, because the email storage of the up.edu is going to be limited. So you send it through WhatsApp. It cannot be more than 23:59 a.m. PM. I'm sorry, PM 31st. So before New Year. Submit it to me before New Year, and I'm going to spend the rest of the first days of 2022 grading your final projects. So is everything clear, or do you have any questions, or do you have something to discuss regarding the final project, please?
Sir, just to conclude all of the assignments. So assignment 1 is that we make a 2-minute video about our favorite yo-yo effect in tourist destination using informal language. Am I correct?
Yes, it is. Yes, you are.
Each class made their own YouTube account, so
yes,
all of us could just upload it on each YouTube account. Is that correct, sir?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And then assignment 2, we make an 500 words essay about our dream job using formal words.
Exactly.
Okay.
And when's the deadline, Jack?
The deadline is the 31st of December.
What time?
If I'm not wrong.
What time?
23 midnight, sir.
Yeah, before midnight.
Okay.
Otherwise you won't be Cinderella anymore.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right, so if everything's clear, first of all, I would like to express my most sincere gratitude to all the members of this class. You guys have been amazing. You guys have been participative. You guys have been showing me great enthusiastic participation throughout the class, and I really appreciate that. And then number 2, I have to apologize for any inconvenience, especially for not being able to be here regularly every week due to some conflicting schedule. I really hope that you understand the circumstances. And last but not least, I wish you the best of luck. I know that this is almost the last year of your college life, so I really wanted you to work harder, and I wish you best of luck in your career, in your life, in everything that you want to achieve. So thank you so much, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay happy. Bye-bye. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Have a great day, everyone. And of course, Merry Christmas to those who celebrate, and Happy New Year.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Have a great day
Pleasure.
too, sir.
Sir. Have a
My pleasure. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.